there and welcome back to Don't Open That Door. Come along with our triumvirate of terror as we descend into darkness, hurtle into horror, and plunge into peril. If you've ever been in eternal darkness, you're in the right place. I'm Justin, and I don't think I'll get a lot of matches on Farmers Only in Alaska.
I'm Nico, and I'm Eben Bigger.
Oh, well, I'm Dan and Riku.
Literally just because it's fucking dark.
Yep.
Yeah. And we thank you once again for joining us on this Halloween month, or maybe not if you're listening to this not in October, but it's October for us. So it's October for you too right now. And we've got a theme of movies that we're reviewing this month. Dan, what is that theme, Dan?
Our theme for movies this month of October is movies with numbers in their title.
Oh.
This movie has a number in its title, and that number would be 30.
You're damn right, because we're reviewing 30 Days of Night. This movie was directed by David Slade, starring Josh Hartnett as Eben, which, by the way, Josh Hartnett, Lucky Number 11 was a dope movie, bro. Underrated movie.
Haven't seen
Melissa George as Stella, Ben Foster as the stranger or outsider, Mark Boone Jr. as Bo, and Danny Huston as Marlowe, the vampire leader. I don't think his name ever gets said, but that's just who he is. So we open in Barrow, Alaska, which, just as a piece of trivia, is now known as Utqiagvik, a small town which is the northernmost town in Alaska. In fact, this place is so far north that once a year, the town goes through 30 days of night where the sun doesn't rise. Everyone in town is getting ready for the 30 days. A lot of people leave because they're not built for 30 days of night, and other people are making preparations to hunker down. But some strange shit is afoot. Eben, the local sheriff, finds that someone stole all the satellite phones in town. We'll talk more about that later. And has burned them all. That's odd. But then he gets called to a crime scene where someone has apparently murderated all the sled dogs in town. That's also kind of odd. Well, to talk about oddities, we need an odd person. So, Nico, what's really going down here?
Guilty as charged. While all this is still going on, we're introduced to Stella, Eben's estranged wife, who unfortunately missed the last plane out of town and is now going to have to stay in the same tiny town as her estranged husband. That's not going to be awkward at all. Meanwhile, Eben gets another strange call, and the town's local helicopter enthusiast reports that someone has destroyed his helicopter. So the town is effectively cut off with no way to leave. Sure hope nothing bad happens.
Well, for more on that, we go to our man on the scene, Dan. Dan.
Now, Eben stops at some place called The Diner, probably because it was a diner, and he runs across a really aggressive stranger that nobody knows. Stella helps him detail the stranger, and the stranger says that they are coming. Eben doesn't know who they are, but he heads over to the local cell tower to find that the guy who works there has been beheaded and staked. Bummer. Eben heads back to town, and a whole crew of vampires starts stealth attacking the fucking town. Well, conventional weapons don't bring them down, of course, and they attack quickly and without remorse, though their leader tells the pack to make sure to behead the victims and not turn anybody.
Well, I haven't turned anybody my direction in quite a while, so let me pick up here. Eben, Stella, and the rest of the survivors, including Bo, a tough guy who lives on the outskirts of town, and he's like kind of husky, kind of fat, but you could tell that's all muscle. It's not fat, bro. Trust me.
Can you tell that?
Oh, yeah. You could tell. You could tell. He's like the guy from Full Metal Alchemist, the butcher. So they all meet up at the diner, but nobody really knows what to do. The group concocts a plan to go hide out in some dude's attic for a while, so they do that. Weeks go by, we'll talk more on that later, and the group realizes that they probably got to do something because the vampires are still out there killing people and they'll get found out eventually. So they wait for a blizzard to hit, and then they all head over to the general store and grab supplies so they can go to the Utilidor, which is a giant power plant on the outskirts of town. The storm provides cover, and the group makes it to the general store. This is good. Unfortunately, they have to kill a vampire in the store, and then the blizzard stops. This is bad. Luckily, Eben distracts the vampires so the group can make it to the Utilidor. for more on your Utilidor related news, Nico, what's going down?
So unfortunately, Eben now needs some saving, so Bo unleashes a heroic rescue attempt, killing a bunch of vampires in the process. He is actually successful, but it's a Pyrrhic victory, as Eben's life is saved at the cost of Bo's. Oh no, R.I.P. Bo. Back at the Utilidor, Eben realizes that Stella, who had gone off to rescue a little girl, hasn't made it back. And also, his friend Billy is turning into a vampire. So Eben cuts his head off, and that's just one more problem solved, I guess. Eben realizes that the vampires actually have Stella pinned down, though. And nobody, I repeat, nobody puts Stella in a corner. So he concocts a crazy plan that is just so insane, it might just work.
Well, we got to go to the man with the plan, who is Dan. What's happening?
Well, that son of a bitch, Eben, decides to inject himself with vampire blood because it will grant him the strength to save Stella. He reasons that people who turn into vampires keep their humanity for a bit. Eben, who is now morbing out, fights the leader of the vampires and kills him, causing the vampires to retreat, and Stella is saved. Only downside is that, well, Eben is now a vampire. But the solution is pretty obvious because the 30 days of night are now over and the sun is starting to rise. So Eben takes Stella back to the place where they had their first date and watches the sun rise as he disintegrates. The end.
Does he really disintegrate, or does he just like char out?
While he chars out. The end.
All right. Well, we got a lot to talk about, so let's get talking, shall we? First and foremost, how's this movie look? Dan?
I kind of like how it looks. There are some definite like CG parts, like the snow and the blizzard is kind of like obviously CG, and there's a few other little things. But I actually kind of like how it looks. The scenery at the beginning is really nice with all the clouds. The clouds were pretty nice.
Yeah.
I like the look of the vampires. Their teeth are kind of all fucked up, and they don't look like crazy ridiculous or anything, but they're like, I don't know, well done vampires, I guess.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I think that for one thing, they don't look like the regal, super classy vampires that you would know from maybe something like a Dracula or something like that. These dudes are out here to fuck and kill.
They look a little inbred, I'm not gonna lie.
I think they look inbred.
Yeah, they look a little fucky. They got the whole, like, fucking serpentine eyes and shit. Like, that's not normal.
I mean, it happens. Also,
Thank you, local Alabama correspondent Justin.
no, but for real, one thing I did want to point out is this movie makes use of night to day.
Oh, and what is that?
Day and night.
It's a technique. It's a video editing technique where I don't know if they did this one in post. It's what I would have done personally. But sometimes it's done by either overexposing film or done in post and then adding a blue tint to it. You can go back and actually see it in such films as, it's funny, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
I thought it was done with underexposing.
Depends on how you really want to do it. If you overexpose so much, you underexpose at the end of the day.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, don't worry about it, bro. And also don't listen to me for anything about movies. Nico, what do you want to say?
I am always a fan of when there is a vibe to a movie, and this movie definitely has a vibe. It is a depressing vibe, but it's still a vibe. In terms of the visuals, one thing that reflects that, though, that I found particularly pleasant was that there was a film grain almost the entire time through that really complemented the just barren atmosphere they were in, always being attacked by snowstorm after snowstorm. And so it made it feel more diegetically like you're in just a real fucked up place. So I was a fan of that.
Mm-hmm. The only negative I have to mention, and I should have said it when I was just talking a second ago, during some of the fights, they do a ton of shaky cam. Yeah. And at one point in time, it gets a little ridiculous. I'm like, guys, relax. But other than that, I liked it. Now, in terms of the sound, one thing that I definitely got to mention is they had a lot of drums, particularly in the action scenes. because it made it feel more brutal when like vampires ripping someone's throat out and then it's like do 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 do. And I was like, oh, calm down, Slipknot. So that was that. But Nico, what was your take on the sound?
Honestly, I feel the same way, and I don't really have much else to add there other than just it was a good capture from all the actors, and they did a competent job in their roles. I didn't see anything that was with any kind of awkward delivery or anything, so it's, good when the actors feel like they actually have some sort of chemistry.
Yeah, that's true. Dan, what do you feel?
I feel like it was pretty good. They definitely took from the standard Foley sound pack because I heard the Wilhelm scream.
There were so many Wilhelm screams, bro.
Also, a couple of the what I call the GoldenEye door closing sound.
Oh my god, I know what you're talking about.
So I thought that was fun. I always like to point those out, or like to mentally point them out when they happen. I don't really think it takes away from the movie so much when it's implemented well, but I enjoy the little...
It's like when you find someone playing the lick in a jazz concert. It's like, oh, okay, I see. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I know movies don't do it purposely. I mean, like I said, it's part of like the standard sound pack kind of stuff, but I still enjoy it.
Yeah. Me too. So one thing I want to talk about here is relationships, particularly the one between Stella and Eben. So I want to know, they kind of make a point about the fact that Eben and Stella are estranged. And then we kind of get into, she picked the town of Barrow to be the last stop before she goes back to wherever she's coming from. And she's kind of cutting it close. They kind of mention it, and it's almost like she picked Barrow because did she maybe want to get stranded so she could talk to Eben, maybe?
Fuck no.
Nah, I don't think
Absolutely not.
Then why'd she save it for last?
I don't know.
Far away? I don't know.
Well, I feel like it'd be dumb to pick the place where you could potentially get stranded.
It would be dumb.
And it is dumb. You're right.
I don't know. I feel like she wanted to talk to the man. And also, how'd you feel about their relationship throughout the movie? Did you think they had chemistry? And do you buy that these two characters care about each other?
I only thought that they had a little bit of chemistry, but my favorite thing, and if we ever do a favorite scenes on this one, this is it. So spoiler alert if we do that.
Okay.
Womp womp.
Eben definitely pulls a future meme, bro. There's a point when the one like old dude leaves and then the son goes after him and they get killed or whatever. And Stella's like, oh, I should have fought harder. And then Eben goes, you don't know what you would do for family. You would fight really hard. Didn't we used to fight really hard? That used to be us. And I just saw like the future meme.
Yeah.
And I was just like, damn, bro, you really did that, huh?
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Nico, did you buy the Lovebirds or no?
I mostly did. As I just said, I feel like most of the characters have chemistry. I wish they would have given more characterization to Stella and like given a little more depth to exactly what happened between them. That's something other characters in the movie mention multiple times. Like, oh, I really wonder what happened between you two. Hey, are we ever gonna, if you stay at my place, the price of the couches, you gotta tell me what happened. And they just don't. So I feel like that was a missed opportunity. But they have a passable relationship. It's nothing with a ton of supreme depth and love. But like, I don't know. I think it kind of worked.
Yeah, agreed. I was a fan of it personally, as far as a horror movie goes. I mean, it's not like Midsommar or nothing like that.
Yeah.
But I definitely liked it. And sometimes, life and even love finds a way. Although I would have just kind of like let Eben go. Like he's a vampire, but maybe he can like go live with the other vampires or something. So I don't really know about that.
It seemed like he wanted to die.
Yeah, I guess he did want to live as a vampire, but... Yeah. Well, Nico, I had enough of your bullshit about relationships. It's time to talk about vampires, all right? So I want to know, first and foremost, how do you feel about this movie's take on vampires? Like, what's really, really good with them? How do you feel about the way they act and just generally the villains of this?
I'm not sure. They don't really seem like the traditional, Transylvanian vampires or anything, but they're certainly menacing enough as a monster in this movie. But I mean, most of the praise that I have for them has to do with the visuals, honestly. I was kind of underwhelmed in terms of their skill set and abilities, though. They just seemed like dudes.
They're pretty strong though,
Yeah,
and
they
super
are.
fast.
I guess. Maybe it was just with the way that the editing was done, but they didn't feel fast as I was watching it. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Maybe. I mean, they caught up to like a car and a truck moving pretty fast, I'd say.
I suppose they did. I forgot about that. Oh yeah, they did just like strong arm a whole ass GMC, didn't they?
Yeah, they like back body dropped a big ass thing too.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It just
Well, Nico's being a hater. Dan, how do you feel about the vampires?
I thought they were interesting. They were more primal than
Yes.
I think normal ones are, or I don't want to say normal, but classic vampires are. But I could tell that there's still some like structure to them because the main vampire definitely commanded like all of the others. And he, I don't quite want to say enslaved, but sort of enslaved like a human to kind of do his bidding.
His thrall, if you will.
I don't know that he was really a thrall, but
yeah, I don't think so.
you know, kind of close, but not really.
He was trying to get that promotion of thrall, but
Yeah,
just couldn't get it.
exactly. Yeah. But he also said that they have hidden in secret for like 1,000 years or something, and they want to keep it that way. So I thought that was interesting. But overall, I thought they were cool. I mean, like Justin said, you know, super strength, super speed, eat people,
Yeah.
drink their blood, ugly teeth. That's about it.
Really fucking ugly teeth.
Yeah.
I like how as soon as Evan transforms, he's just instantly got a real fucked up mouth.
That part definitely reminded me of motherfucker.
Underworld?
What is that? Yes, thank you, Underworld.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah.
For sure. And one thing I do want to give the vampires a quick shout out about is they put in their prep work, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sure fucking did, huh?
Because they really went full on like Solid Snake and took out all this town's defenses and everything else like that. Which,
Bro, how did they get those phones? I have to know.
that was my problem. Because
Like, did they sleight of hand every single one out of the pockets of the residents? Who, fun fact, we know are like all mostly armed. So, like, what?
that was my question. And what makes it even stranger is when Eben talks to the guy who's the stranger, the one who did all the prep work so the vampires could come in, he says, "Who are you? No one's seen you around here before." Which, how could that be true if he also stole everybody's cell phone or satellite phone? How is that possible? That happens at the very beginning in the movie, so they expect you to forget about it, but I didn't. And that's a massive hand wave because if they had their satellite phones, they could have very
GG.
readily called for help.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on here.
Also, how do y'all feel about the whole, like, this fucking plant growing UV light could do damage to the vampires? Like, there's this grandma in the movie who's got a, like, weed grow setup, which I just find hilarious. And they use one of the, like, cultivating lamps to damage the vampires. That just seemed a little cheesy to me.
Nice UV light.
Is it that specific part of the light? Or does it have to come from the sun? Like, what is the distinction in terms of how the light affects them?
I guess it really depends on what vampire mythos you're looking at. For example, there's some vampire mythos that they could go in outer space and the sun doesn't affect them in outer space. It's
Which
specifically
is
an
buck
Earth
wild.
thing. Yeah. Well, we've seen a Planet of the Vampires already, right, guys?
Which is fucking bad. Don't watch it.
But I will say, I could see the point. UV light works in Blade, but it doesn't work in other places. And it was really effective. I was like, wait a second, guys, wait a second.
Yeah.
Super
Like, why not get more of those?
The grandma, there's no way she was growing with just one tiny little light. She must have had a bunch of them.
You got me. You got me,
I
man.
mean, it's not like she's fucking commercially producing weed.
That's true. She's not like a dealer or anything. She's just doing it for her cancer.
I mean,
And to get fucked up with the boys.
I was gonna say, we don't. Did you see? Yo, what she pulled out? That's not one plant's worth. Anyways, point being is this, okay? If she's actively smoking and then she had that much left, nah, no way. It's not just one plant, bro. So, moving past that, the prep work was a little ridiculous. Also, they killed all the dogs, and I was like,
That was mad unnecessary.
why did they kill all the dogs?
They were chained up.
The dogs would warn everybody. They would
About
be
what?
Barking and shit. Vampires, bro.
There was gunshots to warn everyone too. I mean, it wasn't like, I don't know why the dogs were so critical to die.
What do you mean there were gunshots to warn them?
When the vampires started to attack,
Right.
they started to shoot gun. Bow, bow,
Right.
bow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was like after the attack. I mean, dude was trying to get rid of stuff that would warn them preemptively. A gunshot isn't going to warn somebody preemptively. You don't just go shooting around just for the fuck of it.
No, listen.
Like a dog would sense something and start barking, and people would be like, "Hey, yo, why are my dogs? Holy shit, there's a vampire!"
That literally didn't happen because the dogs started barking
Because
and then
the
the dude
dogs
just
are
killed
dead.
them all.
Because he took them out in one shot. All right.
Meanwhile, in Alaska, they use the classic, I don't know, Alaskan alarm system. Somebody else shooting a gun.
Good points made everywhere, guys. Good points made everywhere. I think there's a lot of intelligent subject matter we discussed
Yes,
there.
very much.
Now,
Maybe.
the second thing I want to talk to you guys about is, does this feel like a classic vampire flick? Because someone wrote here that it feels like a zombie movie. And I'm going to turn to you, Dan. You said there's similarities, some parallels, if you will.
Did I say that?
You might have written it.
I might have written it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it feels like a classic vampire film necessarily. It does feel more like zombie to me, where I feel like the vampires could almost play the role of more intelligent and faster zombies. Well, I guess some
Right.
movies have fast zombies, of course, but more intelligent zombies. You've just got, people being turned into vampires and then become the enemies later on. I just feel like there's a lot of similarities, more so towards a zombie movie than a classic vampire movie.
Right. That's fair. That's fair. And there
definitely
certainly is that whole kind of like barricading in and stuff like that, which you don't really see in vampire flicks. You more so see that in a zombie
Yeah,
movie.
it was weird that they didn't just instantly, because like we see multiple times the vampires just like fucking up some doors and windows. Like, I don't know. I feel like they could have, if they wanted to at any time, just like went in there and fucked their shit up.
And that leads to the next point. We skip from like day 1 to day 18.
Yes.
And I feel like at any
Yeah.
point in there, they would have just bashed the doors into a bunch of buildings. What are the vampires doing at that time? Just fucking sitting on their thumbs? Like, what the fuck are they doing?
Well, you know what kills me the most? How do the vampires get around town? What's their number one way they get around town? That we, or maybe not number one, but we see it a bunch.
I mean,
How do they
They
get
walk?
around?
walking
Right. Where do they walk? A lot of the time.
the road,
And where else? Road is number one, the second place.
Not road.
Sidewalk?
The roofs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Roofs.
okay, yeah.
And these people are holed in an attic with a big fuck off window. And I was like, yo, there is no way.
That's true.
That's a good fucking point.
And it's not boarded up because they yes, okay, they do uncover it and recover it. But like, are you telling me that the vampires in 2 weeks plus weren't like, yo, let's check out this house?
Shout out to fucking what's the movie? Black Christmas or whatever the fuck. Where they have
the
the dead
window?
body just posted up in the window for
Oh.
the entire neighborhood to see.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie. That was ridiculous in that movie. And
Yeah.
I think them being where they were for like 18 or 17 days or whatever was ridiculous. But then they were like really betting on this blizzard to save them so they could get to the general store.
Bro, when is the last time a blizzard saved anybody?
I also don't know how the blizzard made it better. Or sorry, I don't know how the blizzard made it worse for the vampires.
Yeah, I was confused about that too.
oh no, these superior creatures aren't going to be able to handle the blizzard like us because they don't know what it is to be in the snow. We're from Alaska.
Yeah, like, excuse me, what? They mention, one of our strengths is we know the cold. What? No, you don't know the cold. It's just cold. It doesn't mean anything. What you said is nothing.
Yeah, fair enough. Also, I feel like we kind of, as we often do in these movies, they looked past a really big thing. Bo's rig, whatever machine implement that was, he was killing the fuck out of these vampires.
Yeah, he fucking was.
And then he purposely crashed it.
Yeah, I didn't understand why.
Yeah, that was fucking dumb.
I was like, wait a second. First off, Bo survives his own suicide attempt because he is like, you'll never eat me, and blows himself up with dynamite or whatever, but it doesn't work because the concussive force throws him out the window and he survives the explosion.
Maybe Bo's actually Reiner.
Yeah, it was flames or something. I don't know. Haha. But he then lives to die, which whatever. But like his machine had like a chainsaw on the end of it, which I'm assuming is for like felling trees and such. But he was chopping vampires in half, and there's not that many vampires.
Yeah, there's like, I don't know, 15, 16.
Something like that. Because by the end, it was a small handful of them remaining.
Which, by the way, I have a problem with the ending. Not with the, like, I'm burning away in the sunrise or whatever, but when fucking Eben gets all morbed out and he goes up to fucking Vampire Lord Sama and he's like, all right, we're just gonna do a classic 1v1 right now. No one else get involved. Like, really? Really? You're telling me that he is the distraction and he just didn't go out there and get fucking eviscerated on the spot? Nah, bro. Absolutely not.
So I think the vampire group has like a honor kind of methodology because they also didn't eat Bo.
Bro, fuck honor. They suck. They're terrible through like the whole movie. Is it honorable to like break in and fucking murder someone?
To them, yeah. But the guys who fight back,
I don't think they're thinking about honor. They're thinking about their next meal. I don't go to Burger King or whatever the fuck looking to get some honor. I go there looking to get some cheap sustenance so that I can make it to the next day. And that's what they're doing in Barrow, Alaska, of all places. Like, y'all couldn't pick somewhere else.
well, it's a small town and it's isolated.
And it's 30 days of night.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're just gonna do that, then fucking go to Iceland where it's more beautiful and less shit.
Maybe they already did.
Maybe they already did. I don't know.
Also, do you know that Barrow is like even further north, right? It's like right outside the Arctic Circle.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. No human being should ever fucking live that far north. That's their fucking problem. They fucked up from the jump by being there.
It's a way of life, bro. What can I tell you?
And that's a way of death.
Hey, people have lived there for thousands of years, bro.
Yeah, and like we invented buildings with indoor heating like so long ago. Get the fuck out of there, y'all.
No, that's when you use the buildings with
Right.
indoor heating.
Yeah,
What the fuck you talking about? We invented air conditioning. Everyone get out of the desert. Like, no, that's
Also,
not how it works.
yes. That is how that works. Absolutely. Nothing I've ever said on this podcast has been incorrect.
Well then, I do want to ask you guys one last thing real quick, which is, knowing what you know about these vampires, do you think that there could potentially be more out there? Because they said we've successfully hidden ourselves. Could there be more branches, you think?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I would be curious to see if there's any of them that successfully either integrate into society or they found small towns to, get people from. I don't know.
Could just go to the UK. Because of the teeth.
I'm nodding my head in solidarity with Nico right now. So it's time for the what would you do? And I feel like I gotta ask. We're gonna do a little bit of a departure from our standard what would you do, and it's gonna be a who would you choose? So
Stella.
there's a fight, Yes, going on between two warring vampire clans from different movies. Who do you think is going to win?
The Buchiha.
My favorite clan.
The vampires from 30 Days of Night, or a squad of unprepared death dealers from Underworld?
Oh, on Death Dealer's fucking easy peasy
Death
lemon
Dealers.
squeezy.
Yeah.
See, I don't know, because the death dealers got their shit rocked by werewolves who are just like the vampires in this movie.
I don't know. This movie, they're like, guns don't work, and then guns definitely work. So,
They were shooting them with the shotgun and their heads were exploding.
yeah.
Real.
So I think Death Dealers might win that one.
Okay. I suppose you're not wrong. Well done, Dan.
Besides, they had 2.5 weeks to find people in an attic and couldn't.
Oh, it wasn't just in an attic. There were random people popping up all over the place. One dude was just chilling in his house. Billy was just chilling in his
Yeah.
house, and they never got Billy.
That's true.
They do kind of suck at finding people. I'm not going to lie.
These vampires are dumb. I'm now
No,
realizing.
wait a second. Wait a second. When Eben turned into a vampire, he was like, I can smell your blood.
Don't even.
like,
don't worry about it.
Wait, yeah, hold on. How did they find like? Oh my god.
Maybe you can only smell blood within a 5-foot radius.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's what I'm going with.
Even then, bro. Even then. Anyhow.
How do you smell someone else's blood when it's inside them and there's no like wounds? Because with sharks, they smell it from so far away because they have like, like they can detect particulates of it. But like, when he said that, I think he was saying it to Stella, and like Stella was fine. It wasn't like she had a fucking her face or
He wasn't
stomach
saying it to
cut
Stella.
open.
He was saying it to his brother.
Oh, never mind. I take all that back.
Because if it was Stella, I could have come up with an excuse for that. But no. So
Wow.
no, she got cut. She got cut, you pervs. She got cut.
No, she didn't.
Yeah, she hit her head when she fought the old guy and lost. So
Sidebar, can we talk about how when that tiny ass little vampire girl started running at what's his fuck, he just swung clear over and completely whiffed it.
Yo.
Like, it wasn't even trying to hit her.
that was the closest thing I've seen to like a video game where you're like, bro, just hit the monster. And like you completely miss. And you're like, how did my dude miss? Like that was the representation of how that happens. But good stuff for the who would you choose. I definitely think you're right about the death dealers. I ain't gonna lie to you. And before we get to the review, one last thing. If you were in charge of a vampire colony, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you had to kind of stealthily take out a town, is there anything you would do different to what these vampires did?
I would stealthily take out the people in the town too.
I mean, that and I would, look in windows more.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, Dan, to your point, you mean stealthily, like how at the start they were stealthily taking out people and no one knew what was going on, but then they decided to break the stealth and just do an all-out
Yeah.
attack.
Yeah.
Understood. For me, you know what I would do?
What's up?
Burn the town down, and when everyone runs out, kill them.
That's a lot faster, huh?
Yeah.
That's what they do at the very end.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you guys could have led with this move, and it wouldn't have been 30 days of night. It would have been like 2 days of feast.
30 minutes of night.
Yeah, right? But anyhow, I want to take this now to the critic review. And oh boy, this might have gotten a higher score or a lower score than you thought, which is why we do this in the first place.
Wow. Descriptive. Always keep us guessing.
So, who wants to prod forth into the glory hole of the unknown? What score do you think
Wow.
this movie got on Rotten Tomatoes? I'm colorful with the metaphors and also with the skin tone.
Okay. Let me think. I have truly no idea. What's our time right now? 39 plus 10, 49.
Nice.
That's what I guess.
I think they gave it a 35.
Well, I now sit in fear of Nico's numerology because it's got a 51% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Close.
Fuck! I gotta start doing this more often.
So, dear listener, Nico just added up our internal clock that we have on our recording program. 39 minutes plus 10 seconds to get 49. So, well done. But yeah, it got a 51% on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience was slightly more generous with the 56%. But I don't care about anyone. We are in our own small town here. What do you think?
I'm going to give this one a 70. I actually kind of enjoyed it. We shit-talked it for a while, and there are a few things that don't really make sense. But I actually enjoyed the vibe. Like, right from the beginning, I liked it. And it kind of kept me throughout the whole time. It was an interesting take on vampires. Yeah, 70.
All right. Nico, where are you at with it?
I'm gonna give it a 66. I liked it, but less so. I feel like it could have been like 20 minutes shorter, personally. I feel like some of it just kind of dragged, and if it was a little bit slimmer, it would have had just better pacing. But it's a good time. It's nothing that is going to be remembered as like truly iconic, but like, yeah, I enjoyed it.
I am right there with you guys. I give it a 73. I really enjoyed it. I liked the brutality of the vampires as much as I liked the noble vampire. Hey, girl, let me take you out to dinner. Like, I also kind of like this.
Let me smang it, girl.
Smash it and make it. Yo, the number one quote from that song. I don't know if you remember this. How you like your eggs?
Oh, yeah. Fertilized.
Fried or fertilized?
God fucking damn it.
Always. I've used that line once or twice.
I hate that. I believe that.
Anyhow, yeah, I thought it was a good movie. Nico, I agree with you. The pacing could have been better. It's an hour and 50-ish, and they definitely could have cut some of that fat. So, all in all, though, I liked it. I think it's a good time, and I recommend it. Do you guys recommend it?
Yeah, I recommend it.
I think so, yeah.
Does this get the golden seal? Arf, arf.
Nah.
Yeah, so I thought. So this one does not get the golden seal of approval from us, but it does get a recommendation. So you probably want to check it out. It's a good time. Now, we want to hear from you. So if you agree or disagree with our take, we're on social media. We are on Instagram and X, that's at DOTD Horror. We're also on Facebook, which is, of course, Don't Open That
Nobody
Door.
calls it X.
Plus, you can check out every episode we've done on our website, which is, of course, dotdhorror.com. But till next time, if you're going to be in 30 Days of Night, invest in more lights. Make sure that you bundle up because it's starting to get cold out here, that fall weather. And as always, dear listener, don't open that door. Bye.